Good afternoon. Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of The World Today. This is a special edition as we are going to discuss many headlines published on national and international websites regarding the Egyptian or Egypt Air plane tragedy. Before we start, let me first welcome our dear guest live here in the studio, Mr. Hossam Nassar, political analyst. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Always my pleasure.
And we are going to start immediately. Our first headlines are coming from Al-Ahram Online. Al-Sisi offers condolences for victims of Egypt airplane crash. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi offered his condolences on Friday to the families of the passengers on board on Egypt airplane that crashed while en route from Paris to Cairo after the army found parts of the plane's debris off the coast of Alexandria, to be accurate, around 90 miles north of Alexandria. Since the very first moments after the tragedy took place, or missing the plane took place, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was following minute by minute what's going on, and he convened a meeting with the National Security Council, presided by him, and including all the members of the council, from the head of the intelligence agency to the Minister of Defense to ministers concerned with the story. Tell me first, sir, your impression about how Egypt reacted to the tragedy since the very first moments.
Well, let us first offer our condolences for the parents of the deceased and for Egypt and for both of us.
All of us, yes.
I think Egypt reacted extremely profoundly. The minute it happened, President Sisi summoned the National Security Council, which said before any kind of news that this is a kind of a grave tragedy, and it demonstrated that it is, without speculating, hostile
Yes.
action, not even a terrorist action, but a hostile action. The Minister of Aviation handled the press conference in a very calm and nice fashion, despite the disorganization.
We are going to speak in detail about the way His Excellency Minister of Civil Aviation Sharif Fathi did it. But regarding the use of words, as you've kindly mentioned, we were saying missing plane till the last moment.
Yes.
We were all the time speaking about speculation, saying that all scenarios are valid, but we do not jump into conclusions. How do you see this? Because some would say that this is a lack of transparency. Others would say that we do not know how to have the crisis management way. And others would say that, as you have kindly mentioned, this is the perfect or professional way of dealing with a tragedy.
Well, crisis management, the first of its ingredients is to be accurate, as accurate as possible. So you don't step into speculations or assumptions.
Yes.
So you have to be factually naming the facts on the ground. They said that from the very beginning that we tend to say that we have lost the plane. However, we cannot say that this is a crash until we see the remains or the debris of the plane, which is very accurate and very factual and very professional. As if the state of Egypt is saying that this is an old state. This is definitely the oldest state in the world. And it has to act accordingly. It has to give a lesson.
Despite the fact, sir, that Hollande, or French President François Hollande, said from the very first moments after missing the plane that it crashed.
Well, Hollande maybe is talking to a different audience.
Yeah.
And the fact...
Amen to that.
The fact that the plane took off from
Charles de Gaulle
French airport, it puts the French on the spot. So they have to, come up differently than us. But Egypt handled it beautifully regarding the tragedy.
Yeah. Regarding the world leaders and how they managed to offer their support in addition to their condolences, from the Gulf today we continue to read UAE leaders condole Sisi Hollande on Egypt air disaster. President His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates has sent a cable of condolences to Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and French President François Hollande on the victims of the Egypt air disaster. Well, in addition to the high-ranking officials from the UAE, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received cables of condolences and phone calls from Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, from King of Saudi Arabia, King Salman, Sheikh Al-Gab of Kuwait, Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa of Bahrain, Abdulaziz Bouteflika of Algeria, King of Jordan Abdullah II, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, in addition to John Kerry, the American Secretary of State, and others. World leaders, in fact, were keen to condole not only El-Sisi, but to condole Egyptians in general. Sir, how do you see what I've said as a sign of a new Egypt when it comes to foreign relations? I think our foreign relations now are built on new basis of mutual respect and win-win situation.
And demonstrating a degree of sovereignty. And this is what makes superpowers, I don't want to name them, a bit aggravated. They see Egypt more and more getting sovereign.
Yeah.
Egypt is releasing its decision making, so they are acting freely without the restraints, all the constraints that was imposed on Egypt before January and after.
Yeah.
So hence we're seeing Egypt muscling out, not muscling out in a hard fashion, but muscling out in a soft fashion. The fact that President Sisi in astute started to call on the Israelis and the Palestinians to make a historical peace and use in order to make it demonstrates that this is a president that is acting without fear.
I really said it before that it was logic and smart at the same time.
Extremely smart.
Fighting terrorism through development and through putting an end to the crises facing the Middle East. On top of them is the Palestinian cause. But let's turn back, if you permit me, a little bit to, in specific, Matteo Renzi, the Italian Prime Minister, because one of the very first phone calls which was received by President Sisi was from Renzi. And it was a blow to many people, unfortunately, of the so-called elite who thought that the relations or the ties between Italy, between Cairo and Rome, is not in good terms, severed to be accurate, or, I mean, if I'm going to be that much optimistic, not as good as before.
Well, I think Italy for some time has fallen for what you they are not elite whatsoever, and they started believing the negative propaganda that has been out of Egypt, and they started putting muscles on Egypt, trying to act as an imperial or colonial power, saying we are European and you're Middle Eastern, so we have every right to. From the moment they recalled their ambassador, I wrote on Facebook, don't worry, he'll come back, Ismailiyya raih jay. And this is what happened. And in order
with another ambassador.
And in order for Italy not to lose face, they have changed the ambassadorship.
The ambassador, yeah.
So that was an act of demonstrating sovereignty. We have nothing to hide. We don't shy away. If you call on us, we'll call on you. But we'll call on you with all the Egyptian peaceful attitude.
Yeah.
So we will call on you back softly. So if you want to get your ambassador, fine and well, you're not going to receive any calls from us. So this is exactly what happened. I think Italy has recovered, and they have discovered that Egypt is a free will decision-making country, and El-Sisi should not be muscled out.
Do you find any kind of a similarity between the Russian plane and the Egyptian plane in a way?
Well, talking the conspiracy theory.
Yeah. At least far from the conspiracy theory, how the international community would react if this terror scenario was proved?
Well, again, talking the conspiracy theory, they'll take it against you, some way or another. But whenever we're having a very good relationship with Russia, something happens with Russia.
Yeah.
When we had a relationship going beautifully with Italy, something happened concerning Italy. Now the turn was on France. France is supporting Egypt politically, economically, militarily, and that could be
and the visit
a lot
of French President François Hollande recently,
it was historical and monumental as well.
Yep, and in time, its timing also was more than perfect.
So it remains to be known whether this was a terrorist act or a hostile act. It's definitely 99.99% not a fault, not a technical fault, but it's either a terrorist act or a hostile act from using something that we don't know yet.
But we will, inshallah.
Inshallah.
From the World Bulletin, we continue to read as many of the international websites are focusing on the tragedy of the Egypt Air plane. Search for Egypt Air A320 enters second day. The search for the missing Air A32 now entered the second day. Egypt Air officials have corrected earlier claims that debris found near a Greek island on Thursday was wreckage from. This was a little bit earlier, as after that, in the early hours of Friday, the Egyptian naval and military forces found debris related to our plane, and this is exactly what's written in the Independent. Egyptian military finds debris of crashed airliner. Sir, Egypt is supported by other forces from Cyprus, from Greece, from UK, from France, and as far as I know that also American vessels or American forces are on their way, in a way. How do you see this as a message to the international community? It's not only condolences, it's not only show of support, but it's really on the ground.
Well, if we remove the conspiracy theory and put it on the side, we will talk about two dimensions. One is humanitarian, so they are showing their humane side with Egypt. Second thing is that it is becoming a factual knowledge that Egypt is being subjected to a war from an international terrorist organization supported by some countries or some hidden agendas inside some countries. So there is a wave of empathy coming from the international arena, not only supporting Egypt, but showing sympathy and empathy with Egypt, because they see the kind of damage that these Ahl al-Shar are trying to make.
And if we are going to look at some light by the end of the tunnel, you would say, if you permit me, because of all these things which are happening, it means that Egypt is on the right track.
Definitely, yes.
And so, when there are those whom you've mentioned, Ahl al-Shar, or those behind the camera who are trying to spoil all this, would do everything to stop Egypt. What should we do to stop them, and in the same time to continue on the right track? Is it only development? Is it security solution? Is it cooperation among different world powers? Is it all these things together? What?
All these things together.
In addition?
In addition to solidarity.
With?
With ourselves.
First.
We should not panic. We should always be calm. We should trust our leadership, and we should know that this will not be the end of it. Things of evil will continue to happen for as long as this body of evil is not being.
You know, Mr. Nassar, some Egyptians would say that this is going, or this was and will all the time be our fate. Egypt is the big sis, and Egypt is a Mediterranean, African, Arab, you name it, nation. And all the time, Egypt should play a role to to have stability and security prevailing. What should we do to do all these together in the same time? To focus nationally or internationally? To focus on the Egyptians or to Egypt's relations with the others? How to have this equation?
It has to be reaching an equilibrium. Egypt is kind of a blessed geography and a cursed geography.
Yeah.
So being blessed and cursed with the geography at the same time puts some restraints on how you handle things. Because everybody is looking up to Egypt. Egypt is the oldest civilization. Egypt is the master of religions. I mean, taught every individual in the world how to worship his God. So it has an extremely important cultural dimension inside of every international citizen. Since birth, since early education, they carry something about Egypt.
Yeah.
And it's something that is lovable because they see themselves Egyptians in one way or another.
Yeah.
So Egypt is out of this responsibility. It's not only responsible for its domestic citizens, but it is also responsible for its international citizenship, which actually brings all humanity together.
Yeah.
So Egypt is a small cosmos. It's an extremely important nation, and it has to act accordingly. So it has to tackle all issues and all subjects.
Because of this, we should pay the price to be the citizens.
We are paying the price.
And the sons and daughters of such a cosmopolitan country, as you've kindly mentioned. Also, The Guardian is tackling the plane tragedy, body part and seats from Egypt Air flight. The MO4 found, says Greece. Debris from missing Egypt airplane, including a body part, 2 seats and suitcases, have been found by Egyptian vessels in the Mediterranean Sea, Greece Defense Minister said on Friday. It was also that much great to find that all the time there was a connection or mutual consultation, talks, phone calls between Alexis Tsipras, the Greek Prime Minister, with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and our Defense Minister, General Sadegh Sobh's Greek counterpart. In a split of a second, you would know all the data. So nothing can interfere or to say that those are saying something and those are saying another thing. This coordination, I think it shows much.
It shows the kind of intermediate culture all over the Mediterranean basin.
Yeah.
And it shows the respect that Greece is having for Egypt, and Egypt accordingly is having for Greece. And it shows, this is the payback of the effort that was done by President Sisi to bring the Cypriots, to bring the Greeks with us, and to have some sort of a partnership, a Mediterranean partnership that was open to the Italians and then the French, and then with the possibility of having a prolonged peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis. We will have a Mediterranean input on his both
and sir,
shores.
all sides used such accurate words. The official letter said, the Greek said that they found floating objects seems to be related to the plane, not to say that this is parts of the plane. Then we are going to continue searching. I mean, I think dealing with the story, dealing with the tragedy was very much professional from all sides, if you see so.
Because of the military. I just wrote on Facebook
Yeah.
a post saying that the elite is always saying...
The so-called.
Yeah, the so-called elite is
Yeah.
always saying that the military is always or have to be engaged with the military issues, not civilian issues. But it was proven day after day that this so-called elite do not even understand the military. The
I
military
don't want to
has given
say...
a lesson to the media
Yeah,
on how to
to
handle
the
things.
media.
Yes.
This was my coming question, and I mean, I should take it from here, because I cannot neglect that. The military, as you have said, and the leadership and the high-ranking official were very keen to use very accurate words to describe the situation and not to jump into conclusions. Even in the press conference in which His Excellency Minister of Civil Aviation, Sharif Fathi, he was very much accurate, and even when he was some of those, I should say, silly questions, he said that this question leads to nothing. And because of this, he did not answer. Whenever it leads to nothing, then would you please, I'm so busy to join this kind of blah, blah, blah. The media. And here, it's not only the Western outlets. The media. It's not because I'm representing State TV, but State TV, I think it did great.
Definitely, yes.
But on the other hand, not all of them, but many of the private satellite channels were not on the same level of being responsible. Why?
Because the state TV is after something, and the private channels are after something else. You are after saying the facts on the ground. You have no bills to pay to anybody. The private channels are working for the traffic, so they like to make a case of everything. So they like to make hot stories, even about cold issues. But imagine something of that tragic nature. Yeah. It was used, it will continue to be used, and this is the kind of media that we're having with channels. Irresponsible, they are after...
if you permit me, sir, in addition to being irresponsible, to some extent rude, some of the cartoon, for example, the cartoon characters starring in some of the, in one, to be accurate, of the private satellite channels, made jokes of the tragedy. I really don't know how to describe this.
It's not even rude. It escalates to be a treason. These people are hired to make such a fuss about anything. This is in their agenda, is to mock everybody and every subject and every situation in order to pass over irresponsibility in the society. However, the society is pushing back, and we're fighting back, and we're giving them a hard time.
Yeah.
And if they don't change, then we will change them. But because we cannot afford being antagonized, being invigorated by these kind of media.
You mean the Egyptians, the very simple citizens,
yes.
The layout man? I mean,
yes.
On the social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on many outlets, you would find people reacting harshly to those who tried to use this tragedy for their own interest.
Yes.
First, how to deal with them? I mean, what reaction should just put an end to these trivialities, or to those, I should say, mercenaries? Because if mercenaries are paid to fight, they are paid to spoil the whole issue, to take us back.
By mocking them back, by attacking them, not in a hard way, but attacking them softly on a Facebook, putting them under pressure. And showing solidarity and showing massive support for our payback statements. If we go to what happened nearly a month ago with the syndicate, we were the media.
Yep.
they couldn't.
Alternative media, to be accurate.
And they couldn't win. They couldn't handle the media. So
Yeah.
the social media is becoming astutely aware of what's happening on the grounds.
Yes, sir. I'm asking this question because there is here another equation. People would ask themselves why they are just that much free and they are doing whatever they like, and the leadership or the security personnel do not use the electronic committees to pick those people and take them out and to accuse them of betraying the country, as you've kindly mentioned. And others would say that this is democracy. And if we want to live democracy, we should live democracy as a whole, not to take a part and to leave the other. If you want to elaborate on this.
Well, they are using democracy
Yeah.
in order to bring Egypt down to its knees, but we are using the same democracy.
Okay.
So this is the democracy you want to have, okay?
So you have no fears, sir?
Whatsoever. There was no soft battle that was fought between the social media and the so-called private media that we did not win. Not a single battle.
Not a single battle.
Not a single one.
By the way, I'm just taking messages, and I hope that all the messages are delivered. Taking you to the New York Times, the only one till the moment which spoke about a terror attack or a possibility of terrorism. The New York Times says, Egypt Air flight believed to have crashed at sea. Egypt cites possible terrorism. Egypt. The Egypt Air Red Eye from Paris to Cairo, an Airbus A32 jetliner less than half full, had just entered Egyptian airspace early Thursday on the final part of its journey. Suddenly, the twin-engine jetliner jerked hard to the left, then hard to the right, circled and plunged 28,000 feet, disappearing from the radar screens of Greek and Egyptian traffic controllers. And that began a day of emergency, rescuers scrambling, officials issuing information, experts speculating about the fate of Egyptian flight, which carried at least 66 people from roughly a dozen nations and was presumed to have crashed into the Mediterranean Sea. Why it's only the New York Times which talk about terrorism? Or is it accepted, normal?
I think everybody
expected to be
everybody expect, because I mean nothing could happen to a plane that is approaching the aerial space for some country.
I said so
that could take
the
that
only
turn.
thing, the U.S. Pentagon official was the only one who said, no, we cannot say this till the moment, and it's going to be a long journey till we decide or say that this is a kind of a terrorist attack.
Or a hostile attack.
Okay.
Nobody knows, but having the plane approaching the aerial space for and taking left and right and then plunge from that altitude without an SOS, this could be either a terrorist attack inside the plane or a hostile attack from outside the plane. This will definitely be discovered when we find the black box. But it's
black boxes.
99.99% this is either a terrorist attack or a hostile attack.
And many of the experts, when it comes to the air flights and to accidents like that, said the same issue.
Otherwise, President Sisi would have not summoned the National Security Council.
Amen to that. Also, the Telegraph is saying the same. The Egypt air crash could signal a disturbing new twist in the war on terror. Following the disappearance of Egypt Air flight, Egypt's civil aviation minister has suggested that terrorism is a stronger possibility than mechanical failure. Russia domestic intelligence chief has agreed, calling on a monstrous attack. According to American news networks, U.S. officials have said there are strong indications, probably from satellites, of an explosion in the area where the plane disappeared.
As I've said, it's either something from within the plane or from outside the plane, something that has impeded the plane from taking any kind of aerial action. And this is one speculation that is becoming so famous now on the Facebook, that it has been subjected to electromagnetic interference. So it remains to be known, but it's definitely 99.99% hostile or a terrorist attack, or both.
Yeah. Prosecutor General Counselor Nabil Sadr ordered an urgent investigation into the crash. The prosecutor urged the higher state security prosecution to open an expanded investigation in a bid to uncover the causes behind the tragedy. And of course, there is a committee also formed to continue those investigations. This committee is going to be formed from Egyptian and French investigators, as French, of course, it has a lot to do with the issue.
It is a French aeroplane.
A French aeroplane.
And boarding from a French airport.
And 15 French
exactly,
nationals.
and having 15 French people.
Yeah, on board on the ill-fated plane. Is it going to take long? I mean, should we forget all about the issue for months till the moment?
Usually, airplane crashes take a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, we should expect that.
You have to get all the debris and then make a model and see if there is a sign of explosive from within or from without. So it takes a lot of time to discover what really happened.
But there are preliminary proofs. Even the size of the debris, it indicates a lot. The size itself, it indicates a lot. So I think, I mean, when we were talking about Alan, you said he is addressing different audience. We are very passionate, and we do not want people to say that, oh, we forgot all about them. We just made just 3 days of official mourning, and then we are going to forget all about what happened. So should we all the time follow up the investigations? Should we focus on that in the media? Should we wait until the investigations are fully accomplished? What, in your opinion, for the best interest of the people?
We have to be responsible in as much as the state representatives are being responsible. So if we trust our leadership, if we trust our statehood, and if we trust their actions, and they have taken a very professional action, so we have to put our trust in them and wait for the official results to be broken out.
Yeah. Regarding the way the Egyptians and the French, in fact, dealt with the families and relatives who were, of course, in such a tragic situation, losing their beloved ones. How do you see this? How do you see the way we have dealt with them, whether here or there?
We've always seen this on Western movies, having psychiatrists or employees who have trained in the psychological traumas to handle situations like this. But I was pleased to hear from the Minister of Aviation that we're having such a team, and we have allowed a facility, boarding, hotel kind of boarding for the parents, and even for the parents of the French people to come and stay until the facts are known on the ground. This is the first time I hear that Egypt Air or the Ministry of Aviation is using such techniques, which is a very good progress in handling situations like this.
And also, we cannot neglect what happened today. Today, it's Friday, so after Friday prayers, many of Egyptian mosques held prayers for the sake of the beloved ones we have lost, and also Pope Tawadr II, the Pope of or the top of the Egyptian Orthodox Church, held also a mass early in the morning for the sake of the victims of the plane. Regarding what you have said, there are so many first times in this tragedy.
It has been handled beautifully despite the tragedy. I mean, things were falling together as if the jigsaw puzzle is finally reached, as if we have learned something in the traumatic 5 years or 6 years that passed since the so-called January Revolution. Things are progressing. I think the President Sisi is showing the example of how to handle things with patience and to handle things in a professional fashion, in a very masked and calm attitude. So people are learning a lot from the statehood. Hopefully we will along the way get a different kind of culture in handling such situations.
If the assumptions or the possibilities raised by the Telegraph and the New York Times is proved, if all those proofs said one word, that it's a terror attack, do you think that it's going to be a turning point on Egypt war on terrorism or the world war on terrorism, or it's going to go en passant, as the French said, after the 13th of November attack, which took place in France and killed more than 130 people, and what happened in Belgium? I mean, is it going to be a turning point, or it's going to be just added to the terrorist accidents?
I think it's going to be a turning point. The brotherhoods, though, could be used as tools to act in a terror fashion, but they are still a bunch of mentally retarded people.
Or at least brainwashed.
They cannot plot such a meticulous conspiracy.
Yeah.
They have to be aided by some higher intellectual powers that has the intellects to plot. Because if the Muslim Brotherhood had any kind of intellectual
if this is proven to be a terrorist attack, it's the work of intelligence agencies.
Exactly.
No doubt.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Not eliminating the possibility of the Brotherhood involved.
All possibilities are there.
No,
all scenarios are valid.
They are used as tools.
Yeah.
But the main entity that has been plotting such a terrorist attack, as you've said, belongs to intelligence, having the intellectual capability of plotting on an international scale. So it will be a turning point, and it will show some hidden secrets.
Some hidden secrets, and it's we here, all the partners who are joined together to face terrorism, we should not adopt the policy of just reaction. To wait until the catastrophe is taking place and then we do react. Because, for example, yesterday we have read on many international websites that France tightened security on Charles de Gaulle, or on all its...
And it's already tightened.
But to add 500 guards or 500 military personnel to put more security procedures or tighten security procedures on all the French airports, should we have waited that much long, or to find a catastrophe just happening in front of our eyes to tighten security?
This is the international conspiracy side of it, because some international or some Western pillars are trying to muscle Egypt in order to be soft on handling the internal domestic terrorism. And I wrote on Facebook again, الهجوم خير وسيلة للدفاع. It's better to attack than wait to be defensive. But people on some international entities are trying to block Egypt from handling the situation harshly, as it should have been handled 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
because the pictures or the photos we had from Charles de Gaulle Airport right after missing the plane with military personnel distributed here and there, if you are if you find such a photo coming from Cairo International Airport, you would find, we are
not respecting our freedom.
Yeah, and we are under the rule of military rulers and stuff like that. How to differentiate, how to say that, this is the right way of dealing with the situation, because we are in a war, a real one, and not less than any other war Egypt was involved in years ago.
We have to give them a recipe of their own poison.
Yeah.
We have to deal harshly with the situation. Otherwise, it will continue forever. Because you're never gonna please these kind of Western plotting. You're never gonna please them, even if you are the softest state in the world.
Yeah.
So you might as well give them a recipe for their medicine.
Yeah, as of course you know, sir, Egypt is presiding over the sessions of the UN Security Council. And just a few days ago, our top diplomat, Sameh Shukri, just returned from New York after presiding over one of the sessions. And one of those sessions were totally focusing on terrorism, and to be more accurate, on the ideology of terrorism. Adding to that, Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Al-Imam Al-Akbar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, was in Nigeria. He's still in Nigeria. He is going to arrive, I think, later today. Before that, he was in Indonesia. And all his speeches, whether here or there or in the Bundestag in Germany, were also focusing on the ideology of terrorism and how to fight it, and how Islam has nothing to do of all what's going on. How do you see those activities, whether from our top diplomat or diplomacy in general, and from our Grand Imam, to serve the war on terrorism, or to add to what we are doing from the leadership side, from security solutions, stuff like that?
I think we're far beyond ideology now. It's not even ideology or the ideology of the terrorist culture that is being raised in an ideological fashion. The main issue here is the so-called human rights.
Yeah.
This is the main issue, right? But if you are a terrorist and you have been raised in such a culture, you have no rights.
Yep.
Because any right that you will be given, you will use it to kill me. So you have no rights. This is the message that we should be propagating.
And because of that, I've said that if you permit me to say, this is going to be a turning point on war against terrorism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have to, not to put pressure on the state, but we have to say it out loud. Enough is enough, right? We cannot tolerate
anymore.
If they want, if they see this as a right to live, we have the right to prosper. We have the right to be sure about our kids going in and out. This is the right that we should be defending.
We have the right to live in peace. We have the right to live happily. We have the right to adopt what David Cameron said long ago when it comes to the national security of the UK.
But I mean,
talk with me about human rights.
To leave all of this and to talk about the right to demonstrate for some 50 individuals, this is
nonsense.
It's nonsense, and it's becoming a hocus pocus.
Before we go, let me thank you very much again for your input, sir, and once again to send our condolences not only to the families of the victims, to all Egyptians, to the whole world. God, this is a crime against humanity. When it comes to losing all those souls in a split of a second for any reason, this is a real crime. Well, by this we come to the end of this special edition of The World Today. On behalf of Rasha Al-Maghrabi, Yasser Abdul Masoud, Friel Muhammad Abdullah, Ayat Ali Taha, Magdi Sliman, myself, Nermeen Abdurrahman, many thanks for watching. Have a very good afternoon.